Today's teaching comes from the essence of where, in a way, direction of connection of the links of the soul of the man, the energy of the fields of the existence of the man comes from, and where he goes to. In the past 2 or 3 weeks teaching, Rick, would you like to change this screen, please?
Yes, will do.
It's not easy to teach while he's there. In the past 2 or 3 weeks, as I explained, we started a new path of teaching. We know how to fly across this planet. We have learned every trick of it. We saw in the past few days how man showed the most advanced technology in launching a rocket, carrying a satellite on board, and again, as usual, could not complete the task by literally landing the part they wanted to do. We saw how Musk tried to land the jet half back on the launch pad, and he still landed in the water. But the rocket took its course, delivering the Indian satellite, and somewhere the rest of the process. When I was watching the launch, it brought back a lot of understanding of what present teaching and technology in Keshe Foundation is, and what man in scientific dimension at edge of science would like to do. When I watched that the rocket went up, and the part which was supposed to come back to the base and do a vertical attachment to the anchor did not function, and as usual Americans never call it a failure, but in fact failed because it landed in the ocean. It brought me back a very funny thing. We want to send your soul, you want to transmute, and what happened if you misfire, as I say, take a different field strength and do not land back on the dock where you fired from, and you land somewhere else? But your destination, point of destination, is already chosen. You'll be that satellite, you'll find your position in the orbit of where you should be, somewhere in the universe. But in the process of transmutation, you land not back in the physicality of the body, but somewhere else. What do you do? How do we connect? How do we bring it back to where it should be? Would we end up in another body? Would we end up in another dimension while we are still in part in another position? Would we misfire like Musk and still put a brave face that we succeeded? In fact, when I watched the launch, it was one of the biggest failures of the space technology, because we already know since 1960s how to launch a rocket and put satellites in orbit. Yuri Gagarin went up and came back. The advancement was to bring it back into its dock. And with the space technology of today, failure is there again and again. We've seen it many times. They've tried. Succeeded once. Can we fail in a plasma space technology? Do we have a rocket in our brain which sends our soul across the universe and then cannot bring it back? In the Keshe Foundation, in the coming weeks, we will test something very special as the process of the production and evolution in science and technology brings us, where we create the first plasma targeting what we call beam, as like a laser beam of a plasma in a given direction, where it, as I was talking about the knowledge seekers, we talk about the wormhole, but we create a condition of the plasma where, for example, we can emit a moon and we transmute across this tunnel, this plasma tunnel, across and back, where we can directionalize more the transmutation because it's a field, it's the strength of the dimension. It means we can land all of you in a given position on the moon through dimension of the soul. Building this system will be amazing when the time is completed. It will bring a new dimension in the world of plasma technology, where now we try to transfer a beam of light. Now we transfer the whole structure of the man within a plasma beam. We have all the technology. Our knowledge seekers have to evolve in the science of understanding, where, for example, when you target to go to Mars, you don't land anywhere else, but you don't need no rocket. You transmute through the energy channels of the plasma which is made of you. This system will not be bigger than a shoebox. It is not a dream, is the accumulation of the knowledge systems and technologies which we have developed coming down to this point. To understand the principle behind this science, behind this knowledge, we go back to the structure, to understanding, and in the expansion of the science of the transmutation and transportation. In the dimension and in misleading information and teachings of the past science has brought us one of the most fundamental, what I call misguided knowledge about the world of creation. And because we have been misguided, we've been told the wrong thing, we have accepted this fallacy. Maybe I can put it this way. Light is a part of the structure of the magnetic field. And they tell us you cannot bend it. And there are many research done to see that when the light comes near, like a supernova and the rest, it bends slightly over. This is a fallacy of the science. This could be correct if there was no magnetic field in the environment of the beam. But the universe is full of magnetic fields. And if you see this, you understood this technology of what we've been led to believe, then you should have known from the first teachings of the Keshe Foundation, we are contradicting. present knowledge. And I explain to you why. The universe is made of magnetic fields. And if you see my drawings for past decades and decades, I show the plasma in this shape. Because that's how it is. This is how the magnetic field of the earth does not go directly out straight, but is in a spin. Because it spins, the system is dynamic. So one of the biggest things for mankind now to change in understanding of the process of the magnetic field, if light is made of magnetic fields, it cannot bend, how come the universe works on the twist like this? Or the other question which I can put to the world of science is, which segment of this field you consider to be going on a straight line, and how long it has to be that it shows that the light travels on a straight line. Then the plasma physics contradicts the physics of today. Then all of things has to be reassessed by the world of science. Then we have to redefine, is the light or whatever travels on a straight line applicable only to the light in a matter state in a given condition? I explained to you where the controversy and the problem for the present world of science will come. It's very easy. And the easiest part is, if we believe and accept the principle of the light, for example, from a star to us, is a direct line, do we see only matter strength of the fields of that star to us on a straight line? What happened to the rest of it? On the plasma length spectrum, magnetic field strength. Then the question comes, do we, what we see as the light from a star, is the true straight line, or do we actually see as part of the magnetic field spectrum of the horizon, of the plasmatic field, magnetic field spectrum? Then this puts a big question mark in the whole science of physics which a man has made, and this is one of the problems. Man cannot travel the depth of the universe, and he has to rely on the jets. He has to rely on nuclear fuel, because still deals with the matter state. Do we, in our space technology to come, create two dimensions of the travel? In a matter state, straight line, or in a plasma state, in a different line? And even though it might be the longest, but it's the shortest in the time, because this will take you 100,000 light years. This takes you 1 millisecond. These are what now we have to consider. These why, in a way, showed even the most stupid scientists in the world, a fake scientist, came out with energy equal to mc square. Because he knew there are so many factors in between here and he made them all assumptions. Because this guy does not exist in the world of the creation, is a man-made measure of his own vision of understanding and observation, does not apply to the work of the universe. You have to realize Einstein was made to be a peer reviewer, and in that peer review he was cheating and stealing from a lot of people. And in those things he found out he has to make a lot of assumptions, because what these patterns were coming in showing him he was wrong in all his assumptions from the beginning. And this is where the world of science went wrong and has gone wrong, and he found a place to confirm his stupidity. If you understand what is here, and simply now you understand that C is cannot be because it have different magnetic field spectrum as a plasma, this equation does not exist, cannot work in the present form, and the way has blocked the world of science to move on. As I said very recently, science of plasma has to be left with those who understand the world of creation, not those who are blocks in the science of man. If you understand what's on the screen, its implication, its application, then you understand for the soul of the man to travel the span of the universe should not take that long, because the soul of the man works in this parameter and not in this parameter. In a way, according to the desire, the emotion of the field of the man, we choose which spectrum of the field, the strength we travel with. And man has chosen the physical matter spectrum, which is the downfall of his understanding of the rest of the creation. In the coming weeks, I'll explain to you in a very clear way how you can travel to any destination in the universe, not on a straight line. The straight line in the world of creation of the plasma is the longest time. Because you have to fit it into the given spectrum field strength. And there is always one much higher, which that higher speed gives you the dimension of the field transfer through plasmatic magnetic field. This is how inertia is created. This is how gravity is created. And this is how men have not understood the totality of the science of the creation. If this wasn't so, we would have stuck to the creator and there would have been never ever a universe. And the fields of the creator does not emit on a straight line. Its diversity and rotation creates a dimension of the interaction of the fields with themselves and itself, as I have shown in the back page of the book number 3, that leads to the creation of the creator. Scientifically, we never understood the totality. And this is why we made all these assumptions. This is why we created so much problem in the world of science. By misinterpretation, by those who were misguided themselves, and we came to believe in them. Even me as a teacher, you have to question the teaching. And to what extent you understand it is the limitation of your comprehension of your own creation. A man who works without questioning is as good as a dead man. Challenges of knowledge, challenges of understanding the science of creation come from questioning the creation itself. Then, in finding the solution, you enlighten the soul of the man and you extend the knowledge of the creation. It's your responsibility to understand the true meaning, and it's not the responsibility of others to teach you. Because then your limitation becomes their limitation. When you meditate, what do you meditate for? When you align the energy fields of the body of the man, is to elevate the soul of the man. That's the purpose of meditation. Meditation is science. Meditation is understanding the world of creation, not a free zone that I'm free and I feel nothing. Access to the world knowledge, to the universal knowledge, to understand the truth about the science of the creation. The minute you claim you understood all, is the minute is the point of demise. You got to understand how much we've been misguided by those who were those there to deliberately to misguide us. If you understand a simple term of what we saw in the world of science, which has become a norm, and we accepted this stupidity, and they tell us the light travels on a straight line, and we accepted it, then this gives you a very big question. The same as what I explained months ago, that 4.5 billion is not the age of the universe. The universe is billions of years more. And then we found out to say it could be 13 billion years within a few months after what we explained. And it's even bigger. But let me explain to you the age of the universe. If the theory of MC squared is correct, and understanding that they tell us that you cannot bend the light cannot bend, and they tell us light travels on a straight line. If the horizon of the man on earth is 17 kilometers, due to the curvature, what is the size of this universe if the curvature of the light tells us travels on a straight line across the universe, that we see the light of another star to be in that point? If you haven't understood the question, I'll put it to you this way. How much bigger this universe is if the light coming from the other point of universe travels on a straight line? which is a small part of the fraction of this curvature. If you want to understand the actual work of the universe in a very simple way, I'm sure all of you have seen a Catherine firework, where they burn and it creates a dynamic, rotating firework going on the spin in the center. What happened to you and what happened to the light is exactly what you see in that spin. Cannot be on a straight line. You see it only on a straight line according to the horizon of your observation, not the horizon of the universe. Simply, the curvature of the Earth is not 17 kilometers or 17 miles, depends how and who wants to explain what. Then you understand, for man to travel to another point from the point of transmutation, straight line doesn't exist. It depends on the strength of the soul of the man. It depends on the strength of the purity of the service the man has gathered within the structure of his life, in what strength field he will travel in. Has he created a position to come closer, or has he created the condition to go further? The holy books, this is heaven, and the other side is hell. Then you come to understand the dimension of the plasma fields of the universe is limitless, and it's only limited by the understanding, comprehension of the world of the creation of the man himself alone, and not by his educators. And if you understood that the world of the man moves in the dimension of the unicos as the universe man is used to, which is this spin, which part of it is in a bigger spin of the unicos. Where anyone, any soul, in any dimension, which even here could be the dimension of the soul of the man, can travel to the soul of the creator, and not the soul of the universe, which man thought is created out of. We have a beautiful saying in Farsi. It says, my servant had a servant, and the servant had a servant, and the servant of the servant had a servant. And we are one of those last servants. And maybe there is more life after us, which become the servant to serve us, to be servant of the servant. These, you have to understand, to open your eyes, that in a coming up teaching, understand how you travel in a straight line to the soul of the creator, and in the dimension of the soul of the plasma of the man, you travel in what I call dimension of the field strength, and where and how you decide to be. Understanding the process of this line of the expansion of the soul of the creator needs itself a feedback line that creator knows how much is expanded to. We call it gravity. Gravitational field forces in the plasma is different than the gravitational field forces in the matter direction we call inertia. And the plasma of the creator gravitational field forces is at a point that is so low that it attracts everything into it. It's a black hole of the creation and not the black hole of the universe, where the black hole of our universe and within our universe falls within that black, where itself becomes the essence of the creation of the universe. The knowledge of the creation is of the universe and creation is extensive. It's for man to unravel the truth about his own creation. And once you understand this, you start the step how to travel in the dimensions of the creation. In a way, if you understood, if I explained clearly last time, this past 2 weeks teaching, this line is your hydrogen, and this line is your connection to carbon. And the interaction of the field of the carbon creates what we call C60, or conformation of existence of the universe. This universe can be your physicality, or this universe can be the unique cause of the creation, depending on your comprehension of the understanding of the creator. One day, in the teachings to come, I will explain in more and more detail that you understand. In the past 2 or 3 weeks, we're trying to give you a map, a bigger understanding of the bigger picture. That when it comes to nitty-gritties and to detailed understanding of the knowledge, you can see how you fit, where you fit. Then the things that has no ambiguity. How come I can go to the creator direct, but I still travel the span of the universe and create a dimension of existence of the conformation? Very few, even they all have access, will ever see this light. A direct line to the world of creation of the creator of it. And the rest are according to the strength of the fields they gather, are in the passage of different field strength of the dimension of the expansion of the unicos, the universe, and fields of the creation. The knowledge of man has to be complete in its totality, that man can understand the process of the creation. And this can be your soul, this can be your physicality, this can be the dimension of totality of man understanding of his own creation. In so many words, man needs to enter the world of creation. Man needs to understand his own world of creation. Man needs to complete his dimension of creation by understanding of his own creation and nothing else. The true process, the true structure, the true science of the creation, and not to befit to his understanding. Always stay open to understand more, but never put a line, this is all, according to what you understood. Because once you draw the line, you become prejudiced to the line you draw, and your knowledge and your extent of understanding further knowledge stops. We go for a break and we come back. But listen to the last 2 or 3 teachings 2 or 3 times together. And in the teachings to come, then many of you who want to go through transmutation and transportation will understand, see a bigger picture, and you don't land like Mr. Musk in the sea and still claim it to be a success. You still manage to launch a satellite, which we did 60 years ago, because we have not completed the understanding of the return. In the process of the creation, man has to understand the emotion. And if you don't understand the game of the emotion, you're that rocket which landed in the sea and you still claim success, because you're still stuck with the matter state understanding of the energy.